Hey everybody, it's Diane Gill here from the blog and YouTube channel Sustainable Slow Living, and today you and I are going to make DIY felt ornaments together. These are adorable. I did them in 3 different colors. You can do them in this kind of color theme, which to me is like Victorian style Christmas colors, or you can do them in traditional Christmas colors, you know, reds, greens, whites, or in that blue Christmas decorating color scheme that's out there with that light powdery blue and silvers and whites, or in any color that you like. They're very easy to do, and they do take a little time, but that's kind of the fun of doing them. You can get all of your stuff together and sit down and put on a good movie and make yourself some really great ornaments. So let me bring you down closer and we'll get started. The first thing that you're going to need to do in order to make these ornaments is to print out the pattern template that's available on the blog. I will put a link to the blog post down below this video, and you can pick up the template there for free. This is what it looks like. It is pretty simple. And then you're going to cut your pattern pieces out. I cut inside the black lines because that made the most sense to me, but I guess if you want your pieces to be a little bit bigger, you can cut on the outside if you'd like. Once you have your 3 pattern pieces cut out, you're going to take the body piece, and you're going to want to take a piece of felt, the color of your choice, and place the body on a folded piece of felt so that when you cut it out, you have 2 pieces, one for each side of your bird. You can do this without pinning if you want to, but pinning very honestly makes all the difference in the world as far as I'm concerned. Your pieces are just going to come out a lot more uniform. And then you're going to want to take and you're going to want to pin your wing. And for that, you're going to choose a piece of cotton fabric. I really liked doing a piece of cotton fabric that was Christmas themed. I just thought that that was perfect for this project. So I just took the end of that fabric and folded it so that I have enough room to pin the wing onto the fabric. And then of course you're going to want to cut out your beak. For your beak, you're only going to need 1 piece. So I'm just going to take that and pin that right there. When I was cutting out the beak for these, I just kind of used the pin to get a good start on the beak, and it helps if you cut out that little square of felt as well, so that you don't have as much material to deal with. But the pin obviously will be in your way, so you won't keep that pinned the whole time. It does help to get a really good start though with the shape that you want your beak to be. So I am going to cut the 3 of these out, and then we will be right back to move on to the next step. Okay, so here we go. We have 2 body pieces, 2 wing pieces, and a beak. I'm going to take the pattern off of these, and then we are going to start by placing our wings on our birds. You can kind of place your wings the way that you like for them, whatever look you like. One of the things that I really recommend is taking and putting them in place, and then, you know, setting your beak there and setting in the buttons for your eyes so that you have a good idea of what it's going to look like when it's all put together, because otherwise you might just get your wing on there and then not really want it to be in that spot when you put in your eyes and your beak. So you don't have to attach them or anything at this point. Just get your wings on there and get everything set up so that you know they're where you want them, and pin them in place. And then we're going to attach them with a back stitch, and I'm going to show you how to do that. The first thing you want is some embroidery thread. I am going to take this and I am going to stretch it out as far as my hands will reach. I know you can't see my hands right now. And then a little bit further, and then I'm going to cut it. Embroidery thread is a 6-strand thread, and I found that 3 strands is what works best for this project. It gives the stitching that nice chunky look, you know, that gives it kind of that rustic, folksy kind of appearance. So I'm just going to separate this embroidery thread in half, 3 strands and 3 strands. And then I just took a minute and just kind of ran this through my fingers to straighten it out, get a little bit of the twist out of it. It's a little difficult to work with a piece of string this long, but the fact is you don't want to run out of thread when you're sewing on your wing. So you're better off to work with a longer piece and just kind of deal with the troublesomeness of it trying to tangle on you. Okay, so I took the 3 strands and ran them through a needle and evened up the ends and knotted it. And now we're going to sew this wing on here. I found that the best thing to do was to start at the tip, kind of get yourself in the middle there, and in about as far as you want to be in from the edges. And then a back stitch is very easy to do, but like with many stitches, your first stitch is different than the rest. So the first thing that I'm going to do is pull that through there. I'm going to make a pretty wide stitch here, so I'm going to go down to where I want my stitch to be. And then pull that through the other side, and that's going to get me started. And then from there, the rest of the stitching will be done the same. So what I'm going to do is come up through the back, again about as wide as I want my stitch to be, and then come back to the edge of the first stitch and go back down through. And I'm going to continue to do that all the way around this wing and all the way around the other wing as well. So here we go, you guys. We have a wing attached. When you flip it over, it's going to look like this. And then you can do a couple things here. You can cut this off and you can tie these, you know, this end and this end together to tie it off. I find that it's easiest to just slide underneath the thread, go through your loop, and allow it to sort of knot. And if you do that twice, then you're tied off. And then I just like to trim a little bit of that down just so it's a little neater, but it will help you later when you're putting the whole bird together. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to attach our eye for the bird. Again, this is a time when you're going to want to, you know, kind of put your beak in place and make sure that you're getting the eye where you want it to be. So that looks pretty good to me. So I'm just going to take and knot my thread and attach that button. I will hold it securely in place where I want it. Come up through one of the holes and then go diagonally across to the other hole, and then do the same with the 2 holes that I haven't sewn already, and then repeat. And then I'm just going to do a similar thing here in the back to tie it off again. And then we are going to want to attach that beak. So the beak, obviously there is only one beak, and we're going to attach it to just one side of the bird. I'm going to take and get it in place where I want it there and flip this over, and then just attach each edge. You don't want your needle to go all the way through the felt because you don't want the thread to show up on the other side of the bird. So go ahead and attach your edge there. Make sure that your needle isn't showing on the other side of your bird, and then pull that through one more time, and then go to the other side and do the same thing. And then you can just go ahead and tie this off again. This one is very easy to do. And there you go. There's one half of your bird. The last thing that you're going to want to do before you sew both sides of your bird together is you're going to want to attach a loop to the bird to hang him. And this again is something that is just done on one side of your ornament. I have a little piece of ribbon here. You can make it any length that you want. I don't know, this is maybe about 5 inches or so. So then I'm just going to take that ribbon and turn it into a loop, you know, that lays flat. I don't want it to be twisted. And I'm going to take my needle and thread. The end of the thread is knotted, and I'm going to run it through those 2 pieces of ribbon. You want to go kind of high up on your ribbon because you don't want the ends to fray when you're putting them on your bird. And then I found that if you take the large part of the head here and you go just beyond it and attach your ribbon there, it gives the bird the most stability. You know, it helps it so that it hangs properly. So put that down on the bird. You want to attach it without going all the way through the felt because you don't want to be able to see the thread on the other side of the bird. And you're going to want to run this through, you know, at least a couple times. And then just go ahead and fasten that off the same way that you've been fastening your thread off when you're finished with each step. And there we go. So the only thing that we have left to do at this point is to sew our 2 pieces together. And we're going to do that with a blanket stitch. But this is what you should look like on the back side of your one bird, and your other bird of course will be the same thing without the beak and the hanger. And there we go. There's the front for you to see. So let me rethread that needle. Again, I'm going to make sure I have enough thread on it to sew all the way around the whole bird, and then we're going to do that together. Okay, you guys, so here is both sides of our bird. And I have pinned him together. You definitely want to pin him together at this point because he will shift when you're sewing him together. And then your stitching, you will see, I can show you this one, that the blanket stitching, here you can see it better on the green, is decorative around the edge. And if your bird shifts, it won't look right. Okay, so the blanket stitch, just like the back stitch, your first stitch is going to be different. So you're going to want to put your first stitch on the inside. You want to start in here by the beak and go down in about as far as you want your stitch to show. And then you're going to want to, so you're coming up through the back, and then you're going to want to come around to the front. And you're going to want to come out in pretty much that same spot in the back. And then you're going to want to let your thread kind of loop there, keeping it straight. And then come through the loop and pull it tight. And then you're going to want to go down so that you have a pretty wide stitch there. Do the same thing, coming through the loop and pulling it straight. And I'm just going to do that all the way around to the end of the tail, and then I will show you what to do at the end of the tail. Okay, you guys, so here we are. I've gone around the bottom of the bird, and we're coming to the end of the tail. So you want to come up on one side of the tail where your last stitch is going to be on this side of your bird, and make that stitch. But then you need to get to the other side of your tail. So what you're going to do is you're going to do the same thing here that you did with the beak in the beginning. You're going to go on the inside and get this stitch where you want it. Make sure it's coming up on the other side where you want it. Make that stitch and then come around to the front where you need to be and make sure that you're coming up in the back where that last stitch ended. And then pull that through, keeping your loop on the other side of the bird so that that's where your stitch is. And then come through that loop. And then continue on this side of the bird. And I usually just line up like the first couple stitches there with the other side. And then we're just going to finish this side of the bird up. Make sure that whenever you get to anywhere where there might be a little thread sticking out, that you tuck that in. You're going to want to tuck that loop in, and you'll just kind of sew around that loop as though it wasn't there. And then once you get to your beak, you're just going to do that last stitch the same way as you've been doing right along. And then you're going to want to go in to the beak itself and just tie this thread off by running the thread through and then tightening it into a knot twice, the way that you've also been doing right along. Take your scissors and cut it off, and then just take them and use the tip of them or something else blunt, not something sharp, to tuck that thread inside. And there it is, one very pretty little bird. They're very easy to do, and they're fun to do, and they're a great way to spend an evening. And those are the three different color themes that I did, and I love that they're all brought together by the same color wing. So I think you're going to love this project, and I think that you still have plenty of time to make some of these for the holiday season. You can hang them on your tree, you can turn them into a garland, you can use them to decorate the top of packages that you're giving away for Christmas. They're just really nice to hand out to people over the holiday season, even people that you don't know very well, right? Why not give one to someone who's bagging your groceries at the grocery store? It's just a wonderful feeling to see the look on somebody's face when they kind of get something unexpected for the holiday. So I hope that you enjoy making some of these for yourself, for your friends, for your family. Maybe get together one night over the holiday season and do it with a group of people to have some fun. And I hope that when you do make yours, you will share your photos with me in the comments down below, or maybe on Facebook or Instagram, because I would like to see what you've done. And you and I are going to get together again, and we are going to do it very soon.